All right, so we're gonna quickly run through how to build a credible first impression on Instagram. So I have my page right here. So I'm gonna walk you through pretty much every step. So feel free to take notes. So number one is the username. So you wanna make sure that the username is clear, it's concise. I have to recommend not having like dots or underscores if you can help it. Sometimes your name might not be available. So for instance, my name wasn't available, so I put a real at the beginning. So real Joe McCarthy. You could do, official Joe McCarthy, or you could do something kind of creative. Like let's say you were in the closing space and you want to do like Joe McCarthy, the closer, or I've seen like, Johnny the closer. So there's different ways that you can still put your first and last name or even incorporate part of what you do as a living. So feel free to get creative with this. Just again, leave out underscores, leave out dots, and just random things that make it look less professional, because this is the first thing people are typically going to see before they even click on the page. So next would be the name here. So the name here is also super important because, believe it or not, this is searchable. So when people look up on the search bar on Instagram, they can actually look up entrepreneur, coach, fitness, mindset. So you want to put something here that either pertains to your specific business or it's just kind of like a heading of like your niche. So like for me, I just put entrepreneur, but you could pretty much put anything here. And honestly, the more specific you get here, the better. Like I could honestly be a little bit more specific with mine, where you could put like Instagram growth coach, for instance. And obviously put your first and last name here. Don't put anything dumb, just literally just put your first and last name, make it look professional. Next would obviously be the profile picture. So this is also super important. You'll see with mine, I have it much closer up than you'll see a lot of other profile pictures. So you wanna make sure that you have a face in there. You want it to be close up so people can actually see you. And obviously for the background, if you want to, you can put your brand color. So you'll notice throughout my brand, I have like the red, I have the red, I have the red. So it kind of flows naturally. It gives off a good aesthetic overall with my brand. It gives a lot more consistency and it's just easier on the eyes, right? So if you have a brand color, put that in the background. There's a couple apps that you can use, such as like Pixar or Canva that you can use. I just created mine on Canva. I even put a little signature in there. So I try to incorporate a little bit of the branding throughout my page as well. So this is super important. You want to make sure that it's clear. It's, like I said, easy to see. It's close up. That way people actually see that it's you. Like you don't want to do it from like behind. You don't want to do any like pets or like just random things. Like try to make it look as professional as possible. Next would be the story highlights. So for these, you can do as many as you want. I would honestly recommend doing 5 or less. I think I have 5 or 6 on my page currently. It's just easier so that people don't get overwhelmed when they're scrolling through. But let's say one of the titles is either impact or results. Like this is one of the most important ones you can have on your page, is just social proof results. So especially when people are scrolling through, if you can have like one or even multiple highlight covers that have the word results or like testimonials, that's going to help build a ton of social proof. So if you can fit it, put it in one like I have here, and just do one huge highlight that is all just about results, testimonials, before and afters. And then the other ones, like for instance, I have one about my program so people can kind of get the gist on how that works. This is also social proof. So if you've been featured in press articles, I highly recommend adding a highlight with the word press, and you can just put all your publications. So I've been featured in 12 plus articles, so I just put them all in this one thing, so if people want to scroll through, they can see that I've been featured in some top tier articles. And if you want to be featured in articles, feel free to also message me, just DM me on Instagram, and I can actually walk you through some of the different ones that we offer, because we can get you published in 200 different publications. So if you need help with this, DM me. If you already have some, again, highly recommend putting that up there. And I also like to do like lifestyle, behind the scenes, my life, because that way people can see like, okay, this guy's obviously doing well. People also like to get to know you as a person. So putting just like behind the scenes stuff and travel, family stuff in here also just helps to kind of build that connection. So those are like the topics I would recommend. If you want to put one called tips, feel free to, so you can just give some value in the highlights. But highlights, I feel like, are more for the social credibility aspect, and then also just behind the scenes type stuff where people can get to know you and see like what you're all about. or at least like a little snippet of that. So that's basically what the highlights are all about. You'll also notice that I have covers. So some people don't do covers, some people do. If you're gonna do covers, again, I would recommend creating almost like a brand color or like a brand theme. So you'll notice like I have a lot of red, white, and black. Like it's pretty much throughout my entire brand. If you scroll through at Real Joe McCarthy, you'll see that pretty much all my content has a little bit of like the red and the black and sometimes white. So you'll notice I have highlight covers for all of my highlights. And again, this just makes it look professional, gives off a good first impression. So I highly recommend getting those. Again, we can design those if you need that, but I honestly just created these on Canva. It took, 20 minutes and I just popped those up. I've had them ever since. So I would recommend getting some covers. That way it just looks a little bit more professional. Now, next would be your bio. Now, this is super important. Don't skimp through this because you want to make sure that it covers 3 main points. So number 1 is who do you help? You want to be pretty crystal clear on like who you're actually helping. I honestly could get a little bit better with this, but I've seen people put just very generic stuff. So for this, you want to make sure you emphasize like, hey, I help you grow your brand to make you more money. Or if you're in fitness, let's say you help people lose 25 pounds of belly fat so they can feel more confident. And if you have a specific niche, like I've mentioned in some of my previous webinar videos, if you have a very clear avatar that you work with, put that in here. Like I help moms, or I help, mid-aged entrepreneurs or mid-aged male entrepreneurs lose, 10 pounds or build 20 pounds of muscle in X amount of weeks. So you want to put who do you help, what do you do, how do you help them. Next, I would probably put some kind of social proof. So you'll see here I went from farm boy to scaling 7,500 plus brands on IG. So just show like, okay, this guy has been in the ring. He's scaled up a lot of brands. So for you, you could put either like a cash amount that you've made in sales and profit. So you could say like, 10 million in sales online or in e-com, right? Or if you're in fitness, you could say train 300 plus clients or help 300 plus clients lose weight. Or even if it's like 50 people, like you don't have to necessarily have hundreds or thousands of people that you've helped or worked with yet, because especially if you're just getting started, you probably don't have a lot of case studies, right? So even if you do put something here to say like something about how many people you've helped or like what you've done for your clients, if you have that. Next is the keyword. So you can either do DM me the word. So you want to put some kind of word because it's going to help just make it super easy for them to basically actually take action and DM you. So I put the word grow. So you want to do something that pertains to your niche. So let's say you're in the fitness space, you'll put like DM me the word fit if you want to gain 20 pounds of muscle. Or if you're in some other area, like let's say you're just like in the e-com space, DM me the word e-com to learn more, DM me the word e-com, to book a call, blah, blah, blah. You'll see how I also put, if you want to book a call below, feel free. And you also want to put like some kind of arrows. Like you'll notice I have arrows and random emojis that kind of help people go through the bio. So it's almost like a seamless process. So typically they'll read the first line first. That's why it's the biggest one that I have here. Then they'll read this, and then that will drive down here. They'll, read through this. And then obviously from here, they'll just either click the link or they'll shoot me a DM. So that's basically what you want to do for the bio. So make sure you're hitting every point here. That way, people know exactly what you do, who you help, how you help them, social proof, call to action, DM me the word grow, and then they DM you. And this is basically a funnel to get people to actually message you, and you can get leads from that. So next would be the link in the bio. So link in the bio is also obviously very important. Some people say like don't use apps like LinkMe or Linktree because it just overwhelms the audience. I honestly disagree. Like if I go to other people's pages, typically I do want to learn more about like what they do, who they help, some of their case studies. Maybe I want to see some of their different packages, or like if you're in different spaces or you do different things, it's good to have some kind of link like LinkMe. And this is actually a form. It's very similar to Linktree. It's honestly more professional, more aesthetically pleasing. So if you do want, we can actually create a LinkMe for your page completely for free and design it, making it look super professional. But I'd recommend getting one of those. That way people can find you and like literally look up either all your social media platforms, your websites, your YouTube channel, interviews that you've been on, pretty much anything you can think of. You can even pop up some case studies, testimonials right on that site. So make sure that if you have a link that is professional, make sure it's not one of those stupid like Wix, like outdated websites, because people they don't want to click through that stuff. Like it looks low quality and unprofessional. So make sure that the link in the bio not just gives off a credible first impression, but it's also, there so people can learn more about who you are, what you do, and how you could help them. Now next, and the final thing, is the content. So with content, typically what I'll do is I'll do a mix of a couple different types. So if you scroll through my page now, you'll probably see that I have some B-roll content, which is kind of the content where you aren't necessarily talking. It's just a video or a reel of your life, or walking, or doing work behind the scenes, and then you might put text over it. So that's a very easy way to create content, and it also goes viral much easier. So that's what I call the B-roll value content. Next would just be like pure value. So like this would be like an example of just like a pure value reel, where I just sit in front of the camera, speak for a minute or two, and just give a ton of value. And maybe I'll put like a call to action at the end, like DM me the word interested, and I'll send you this, webinar. So for instance, you guys who might be coming across this might have seen something like this, where I put a call to action, you DM'd, and I, sent you this video. So now you're watching it. So that's an example of a second type of content that I typically will do. And then the last one is typically either a like lifestyle behind the scenes type post, or it might just be a reaction type post. Now you'll see here, this is a recent reaction that I did on the 4th of July, and it went it got a lot more views than my other videos. So like if you're looking to get views, you can do a reaction video, but again, I wouldn't go like too heavy on that. Like that would only be maybe 10 to 15% of your content. People can get to know you and your values and your viewpoint on the world if you do a reaction video. So it does help build that connection, but I would honestly focus more on just providing value, and then also behind the scenes lifestyle type stuff. Because especially if you live, a pretty cool life. Like for instance, I just moved to Fort Lauderdale, so I can have a lot of like aesthetically pleasing areas that I could film. I could be in the video, or it could just be like of the view, or the apartment that I live in. So stuff like that just helps to build credibility, and people get to know you as a person. So that's basically what I would do for the content. And also, people just get very hung up on like thinking it needs to be super duper professional. Like if you look through like some of these videos, especially recently that I've posted, they're not super duper like cinema quality, high quality edits, right? Like if you go through, as long as you're providing the value, people watch. Like you'll see I get a decent amount of views, because I'm actually making sure that I'm giving the meat and potatoes of what I'm trying to offer and what I'm trying to say, versus making it look super professional but the message sucks, right? So I would focus heavily on the value you're providing, what the message is, instead of focusing too much on production quality. Like there's definitely a time and place for a high quality type of edit. Like for B-roll, for instance, I do recommend every now and then getting like a super cool B-roll shot of either you or your lifestyle, behind the scenes, because people will resonate with that and see that as professional and high quality. But for 90% of your content, don't focus too much on quality, and I'd focus more on the value you're providing, and then also making sure that you're consistent, at least posting like once or twice per week. So that's basically everything with the branding first impression. So if you have any other questions, or even, better yet, if you want to hop on a one-on-one call with me, feel free to book a call in the link below on this video, and I'll give you a full breakdown, even more in depth. I'll go over your specific brand, see what you can do specifically to increase the first impression, and maybe see how you can get more leads. Hopefully this helps you guys, and looking forward to continuing to provide this value. Definitely keep in touch with the content, and I'll see you on the next video.